Hey guys, what's up? Matty here, and today we have for you guys the Week 7 power rankings for D2. Sorry there wasn't one last week. Literally, me and Sock's schedule only lined up one time, and that one time I got sick, so sorry about that. And with me, as always, is Socrates.
What's up, everyone? So Matthew already said we skipped last week, but we're continuing this series strong. Or as I may say, well, strong in a quite ironic way, because obviously, as we're used to, we're going to start with our number 12. Our number 12 will be Los Angeles Slowking.
To the surprise of no one.
They just to change up a bit. Admittedly, they did miss their high jump kick with Serena on the Houndoom, but well, who stays in with their Serena on a Houndoom? But after that, he just completely lost his head. Like he no longer had his head in the game, and he just usually he already makes irrational plays, but this time around it was even worse. So yeah, there was nothing more to add to it. It was an absolute slaughter. It was a 5-0 loss, and there was not that much to compliment him on.
Yeah, as expected, Glaceon died doing nothing, as everyone thought it would. I believe he switched it in on a Sludge Wave from the Nidoqueen, and it just O-coded.
Yeah, after Rockstar did a solid 76%, so that was an odd play. I mean, yeah, that was another thing I noticed. His answer to Nidoqueen was a Glaceon, which got straight up O-code.
He's a very irrational when he plays. I don't know how to feel about it.
Oh well. Do you have anything on Hero?
Not too much. He didn't play that well. He allowed Heracross to take too much damage from Rocky Helmet, which made it easy for Electivire just to sweep with Earthquake at the end.
Yeah.
So overall, I just think he played poorly, and he still deserves the 12th spot.
Talking about being brief, our number 11 is also getting pretty consolidated. But this man being Kiwana Lucario, fact of the Kiwana Lucario, didn't actually play his game. So, if you don't play, you get a loss. So he lost to 3-0 to Seattle Seadras due to a forfeit. And obviously, if you don't play, then we can't judge you on your performance.
Well, technically, it wasn't a 3-0 forfeit. Jose insisted that someone substitute for him, so Bob took over. It was still a 2-0 loss, but it technically wasn't a 3-0 forfeit. But still, you didn't play, so you're not going to get moved up.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bob played all right.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob played like Bob. Which is to say, he's a good player, but sometimes he makes some interesting plays.
Mm-hmm. So, moving on to your number 10 then, I guess.
My number 10, yes. Which is very different than where you placed them, but for my number 10, I have the Cincinnati Beldums. This match was just really, really hacksy. You played it well, but there were some things I felt like you did that were a bit obvious as well. Like, for instance, when you went for the Flying Union Z move with Gyarados, it was kind of obvious he was going to switch out in that position, but he still went for it. And I don't know. You summed it up best, actually, about this match. If you got a Skull Burn, you would literally have all the hacks in the game in that match. Because there was so much hacks going against Rohith in this match. Granted, Rohith didn't play the best either in this match, but I don't know. I just feel like that there was that a lot of those hacks did matter and kind of put off Rohith's playing, which was what kind of caused the win for PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a note I made on it was that Naveed can no longer complain that luck is not on his side. He got a flinch with Waterfall, a para with Bounce, a play rough miss on the Hydreigon coming from a Don fan.
Good prep, by the way,
and
with the
then
Don fan.
the biggest, and that which was the biggest threat, which got Hydreigon got quite some kills that game.
Yep.
And then he got a full para on the Fire Blast Biz on the Tapu Bulu, which he first paired with a bounce. So there was a lot of hacks this game.
Yeah, it was crazy, and that's why I don't feel like I can move PC up after all that hacks in his favor. Granted, he did play well. He did play well, and he made some good predictions, but sometimes those predictions didn't really go anywhere. If I'm being honest, like the Fire Blast on the Donphan, that would have killed the Hydreigon if the playoff would have hit. Like he was Fire Blasting probably to. Honestly, I don't know what he was. He was probably Fire Blasting to predict Tapu Bulu.
Yeah, probably.
But even then, I don't know. I feel like
he had already showed Surf, so. But okay. My number 10 was PC's opponent that week. Indus Valley Infernape, and I made one note of it, and it's very clear. Rohith played as predictable as his team is. I made on several occasions. I pointed out that Rohith's team lacks versatility, which is very important in draft format, or at least I think that's very important in draft format.
It is.
So, and all the plays he made were quite predictable. I could just sit there and tell PC every move he would have to make. Even the Heatran Bring with the probably Grass CMZ Magma Storm just to trap the Tapu Fini was pretty obvious. So Naveed capitalized on that by just bringing Roost Hydreigon, which completely walls the Stall Breaker set. And then Tapu Fini resumed to just wall a vast majority of Rohith's team. So, all in all, I do think that all of the monsters that Rohith brought, once again, were very predictable, and Naveed played around, despite him getting an insane amount of hacks. So, once again, he can no longer complain about not being lucky, because he got all the luck he ever could ask for in a single game. But Rohith's showing still was not very convincing, and all of the players that were slightly underneath him actually ended up winning their games, or at least the majority of them ended up winning their games, so I had to put him down pretty low.
Yeah, and I'll continue talking about him since I have him down low as well. I have him as my number 9, and yeah, I gotta admit, Sock's right. He did play very predictably this match. He didn't really make too many fancy plays or predictions that could have given him favor after all that hacks. Kind of just went on autopilot, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. All these mandatory plays, like barely any over predictions, barely any. That wasn't. I mean, to play rough on a Donphan, fine. That was unexpected. I'll give him that, right? Because usually Donphan should not be able to touch Hydreigon, but unfortunately, all that missed.
Yeah.
I do think the match would have been quite a lot closer.
Had Hydreigon died, but yeah.
But I am not sure whether he would have been able to get on top regardless.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would have. Yeah, I'm not really sure if he could have still won, even if Hydreigon was dead. Because even if Hydreigon was dead, he had other mons to take on what was left. For instance, to take on Donphan he had Tapu Fini. To take on Rotom, he had again Tapu Fini, which actually doesn't outspeed, but can take an Electric Hit fine since it was at good health. For Tapu Bulu, he had a Scavalier specifically to take that on.
Mm-hmm.
For Vaporeon, Zipstrika could kill that. For Donphan, it could have taken off by things like Tapu Fini or Cofagrigus. And for Frostlass, it's Frostlass. You just need to touch it.
Oh, one thing I noted was that Zipstrika weak as piss. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, it's basically.
It went for a super effective hidden power, life orb boosted on a Donphan. It did about 30-ish%.
To be fair, that Donphan could have been especially bulky.
I'm assuming it's especially defensive, just to give Zipstrika some, wiggle room. But
I mean, if we're being fair, back a couple weeks ago, that Zipstrika took out a Garchomp with Hidden Power Ice choice specs.
Yeah, but it was very underwhelming this week. So, is that everything you had to say on Indus Valley Infernape?
Yeah, you can move on to your number 9.
My number 9 would be the Detroit Magneton. They had a pretty strong showing this week, actually. They played the Iowa Focus Energy, which we have ranked pretty highly.
They had a good potential bluff of a choice item on the Vikavolt, and then he knew that Nick was like infamous for setting up subs with Buzzwole all the time, and Nick figured that he probably was locked into Energy Ball. However, that turned out not to be the case as he full switched on the sub, so he immediately broke that sub and then threatened out the Buzzwole. So that we had like a very good play, and another note I made was, this day shall always be remembered as the day that Wishy-Washy did something.
Yeah, I mean, it walled the last remnants of Nick's team at the end there.
Yeah, it did wall somewhat of a portion of Nick's team, even though they were lacking, offensive capabilities. But
alright, Zach, you're good to go on.
Okay. So Wishy-Washy did something. I mean, it was his lead, which I think is rather silly lead, but it walled an Entei, and it did surprisingly well. So I was just happy to see Wishy-Washy do something.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting tier 5 pick. I'm not really sure how to still feel about Wishy-Washy. My opinion still goes that there are better water type tier 5s that you can grab, but it's nice to see it do some work. Do you have anything else to say about the Detroit Magnetons?
Nope, I'm all said and done.
Alright, cool. Then I'll move on to my number 8, and my number 8 is going to be the Oregon Old Men. This week was a pretty good showing for them as well. They took out the DMR Shadow Absols, a team we've had normally up in the top 4, so that's pretty good for him.
Yep.
It was pretty unfortunate that the Brave Bird role left the Diggersby at the return roll left the Braviary at 1% and thus let Diggersby die, because I think Diggersby actually probably could have potentially swept from there. If I remember correctly, the mons he had left were Fortress. Actually, no, it couldn't have swept as a Fortress. My bad.
Well, it could have still put in some work as a Choice Scarf, because Fortress can't really touch it, and there was a Jolteon left as well.
Yeah.
So, he could have switched it out and then swept with Diggersby. That's probably what you remember.
Yeah, I was just saying that I was just correcting myself, saying not then and there, but the Diggersby could have put in some work at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He just brought a pretty solid team again. I believe his Mew was Choice Scarfed again, though it didn't really matter in this match. It just meant that his moves were locked.
Yeah.
Yeah, though that is pretty good prep. That Choice Scarf does outspeed Jolteon, and then it would hit it hard for Earth Power. And then Choice Scarf would also speed high against a Dragon Dancing Charizard, and then hit it for Earth Power. So that was definitely a good bring this week. The Zoroark had me fooled during the match with all the subbing.
Yeah, I was like, dude, you're not going to get a sub up with Diggersby. He's not going to let you. I actually thought it was sub Diggersby, which wouldn't have been a bad break.
Yeah, predicting a switch out from the Jolteon if Jolteon stayed locked in the Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until it outsped Charizard.
Like, what?
Yeah, it wasn't until it outsped Charizard. I'm like, wait, he's either Choice Scarf sub, which is stupid, or that's Zoroark.
Yeah. No. At that point, I was like, wait, why is that Charizard so slow? I was super convinced that was Diggersby. So I was like, okay, that's one slow ass Charizard you brought.
Wow, that was bulky defensive Charizard to take on Diggersby.
Yeah.
No, it is not. That is a Dark Pulse from his Zoroark.
Yeah, I didn't. He got me.
Yeah, overall, the Oregon Old Men have been using Zoroark really well this season.
Yep. They have outbested me. I'll give them that. So my number 8, Black City Unown. I think they actually won their game.
Yes, they did win their game.
They probably won their game.
Do you not remember, dude?
I didn't actually move. Yeah, I do remember. I didn't actually move them up. I had trouble, okay, with ordering these because the lower half of the bracket just won. And, well, I didn't want to move up everyone. I had to drop people, and so you remain in the same spot. That may be different next week, but this time you had a good performance.
It's very interesting how close right now both the divisions are. In D1, there's a lot of competition over the playoff spots, and in D2, there's a lot of competition over the playoff spots. Like, the only person who's guaranteed right now in either division is currently Jose in D2.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting how close these divisions are.
Yeah. So, Natural Gift, Ice Garchomp.
I literally screamed when I saw that.
So that was exactly the note I made, right? VC Natural Gift Garchomp made me scream a little bit.
It made me scream too.
That was exactly the note I had.
Garchomp in general just did so well this match.
Yeah, and then Garchomp late game cleans, so Garchomp got 3 kills at the end. So that was pretty fortunate. So and another note I made was like Ambipom proves to be a disappointment again. If you want a piece of advice for Ambipom, drop it.
Like honestly, if you want a tier 4 normal type that is fast, can hit multiple times, I feel like Cincino's better than Ambipom.
Yeah, Cincino's probably better.
But at least it has a better damage output.
Also has better coverage.
Yeah.
But that being out of the way, right? Black City Unown had a very solid performance. Their Garchomps that put into work, and they did play well. I mean, their opponent was trying to outstall them, but eventually they ended up getting a crit, which, I mean, they were bound to get a crit.
I'll talk about that Reunicle set when I get to him.
Yeah, as soon as I get to the Perlin Poliwags.
Actually, you'll get to him first, I believe. Yeah, you'll get to him first before I do.
So then we'll talk about it. But yeah. That's gonna be it about Black City Unown. So
that is not gonna be it for Black City Unown because they're my number 7.
Okay, good.
Overall, I think they played a really good match. That Reunicle set was scary for them, but luckily for them, it is a defensive Reunicle set, so that meant that if you're playing on the defensive, you're just asking for a crit. I know the feeling. It's never happened to me in League format, but it definitely has happened to me on like ladder and stuff like that when I've been messing around.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think he played Garchomp really well, as we've talked about before, saving it for a late game clean at the end. He did a really good job at keeping Venusaur at weak health so that he could late game sweep with Garchomp at the end. And overall, I think he's just been playing really well lately.
Yeah, he's definitely improved. If there's one person who has improved most throughout the season from start to where we are now, it's definitely Black City Unown.
Definitely. Now, hopefully they improve, and hopefully their logo can improve next season.
Mm-hmm. And also Palm Beach Palisade, but that's mainly due to a coach transition.
So that doesn't really count.
Exactly my point. So my number 7 would be Portland Poliwags. They keep continuing with the quote-unquote creative sets. Some weeks they work, other weeks they don't. This week they set up with Reuniclus and they went for repeated Nightshades to try and outstall the opponent. That was great and all. It was Nightshade, Toxic Recover, Acid Armor, probably max Def, max HP.
Most likely.
I was not a fan of that Reuniclus set. But, you know what, it almost brought you a victory, had the Muck not crit you. But
I want to point this out. I want to point this out right now. I believe if you did the math on the turns and where he got hit, it did exactly enough to where he should have gotten a crit. But when he got a crit, he should have gotten a crit because would have been exactly a 6% chance. Okay,
good. Well, I mean, yeah, it was bound to happen that you were gonna get crit at some point. I mean, crits happen, as the legendary Pokemon would say, it's the game we play, right? But it's true in a sense, where as long as you try to outbulk and just would set up to outbulk your opponent and then just sweep, well, if you don't have a hard-hitting move, you're also going to get hit quite often, and eventually your opponent is going to get a crit. And, well, unfortunately for Black City Unown, their Muck set worked out, which had a very funny berry, which allowed them to get 50% of their health back. I keep forgetting
Figgy berry.
Okay, Fiji berry. So, eventually that Muck was going to get a crit, or something else was going to get a crit, and your Reuniclus was going to die. So, the effectiveness of the Reuniclus was shown, because it got 2 kills, I believe. But, you know, it was going to get a crit, so, I mean, still not too fond of the creative sets. Sometimes they work. I mean, you got the best of Nick. This time it didn't work out, so I guess that's kind of the burden you have to live with.
I'll talk. I do have a couple more notes about the Portland Poliwags, but but I have them higher than Sock, so I'll talk about it when I get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on now, we'll go to my number 6, which is Detroit Magneton, a team we did talk about earlier. So for me, the Detroit Magnetons, definitely played really well this week. They preserved a Mega Diancie really well, as he saw that Mega Diancie really punched a hole into Nick's team, like just in general. Like even with the mons he didn't bring, it would have done a really good job against his team just in general. That psychic prediction against the Crobat was pretty good. Kamo got a kill, I guess. I don't know. Kamo hasn't really done much at all this season.
The only reason Kamo got killed is because Nick played his Crobat sloppy, but, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. That I will mention one thing, though. That was a weird interaction between Crobat and Xduff right there.
Yeah.
Bunch of Super Fangin, Swords Dancing. Eventually, we all knew eventually Crobat would die, and Xduff would get revenge after that came in. Even if he didn't stall out with the Swords Dances and stuff like that. But it was just a really weird exchange.
Yeah, it was very silly happening.
And then at the end, as you said before, Wishiwachi pulled through, tanked the crit Sacred Fire from was it Sacred Fire or Floodblitz? Let me say.
Sacred Fire.
Tanked a crit Sacred Fire against Diente, killed it with Surf, killed the Mountain himself, Buzzwole, with Surf as well, and just won the game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the Detroit Magpons did a pretty good showing this week, beating a team we've had at a pretty high ranking. So yeah, that good on them.
Yep, Detroit Magneton really did perform. My number 6 is a team you very much dislike, apparently. Oregon.
I don't dislike their team, goddammit.
Yeah. Oregon Ultman. A couple of notes. So the repeated substitute with the Dagger's Beast / Zoroark would, as I said, got me. That made no sense. At that point, Cedric was gonna sack his Quagsire in favor of you not getting out the substitute right there. For the love of baby Jesus, just Dark Pulse at that point and just kill it, okay? You were not getting a substitute right there. And even if you had switched out, there was not that much that would have taken a Dark Pulse, let alone 2 Dark Pulses at that point. So, I don't think he would have, So, you just basically wasted HP on your Zoroark for no particular reason. I must admit that your opponent's team is getting quite predictable. But I'll get to that as soon as we reach the Shadow Absol.
Yeah.
So there were some sloppy plays at the end, but good thing though that your team packs enough priority to rectify that.
Yeah.
Because had you just flamethrowered with your Arcanine and then went for E-Speed, the Jolteon would have been dead by Arcanine's hand, and you had no longer to rely on other priority moves, because otherwise that Jolteon would have probably just strip swapped you from that point on. So it's just by not running Calcs always run your Calcs throughout the game. There's a very handy mechanism where you can import the exact team that you have, all the EVs, all the moves that you have. You can very easily import that into the damage calc, and then, you can...
I'm very much in favor of doing calcs, as you are well aware of.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's a difference, right? For me, it takes about 15 seconds. For you, it takes about 2 minutes, but...
It's more... that's mostly because I'm trying to consider every situation, especially when trying to gather information about potentially the item.
Let's discuss this in a different, at a different time.
Whatever.
But, that was my view on Oregon Ultman. FYI, I still love your team. So, let's just go to, your number 5 then, I guess.
Yeah, he still needs a better thing to take on electric type moves. Not just electric type moves, grass type moves as well. But moving on, you said we're gonna talk about DMR Shadow Absols later. I'm actually gonna talk about them now, because I have them as my number 5. And
despite them winning.
What? DMR Shadow Absols lost to Oregon Ultman.
Oh yeah, sure. Never mind.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyway. DMR Shadow Absols lost this week. As you were saying before, their team is getting quite predictable, being honest. Porygon Z with Z moves, Dragon Dance Charizard, Jolteon that Volt switches, Wall Core and Fortress and Quagsire. Insert last mon here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have noticed that's kind of been the way he's been playing. And it's mostly swapping.
Note that all their walls have a quad weakness, which just,
I mentioned that before back in the draft analysis.
Yeah, but like they have 2 walls and they're both quad weak to something. Just slap an HP on whatever you predict is going to wall that specific mon, and you're likely to KO it.
Exactly, which is why walls with 4 times weaknesses are not the best thing in the world. If you can play around their 4 times weakness, then that's fine. That's good, but if you can't figure out a way around their 4 times weakness, then it's just kind of hard to really do something, especially with something as passive as Quagsire and Fortress.
Yep.
It's gonna kill me for that comment. But anyway, and as well as his offense is getting really predictable. He hasn't really used Latios that much at all in this season, as well as he's mostly using the Helgo for just hazards. Braviary's been something he's been used to good effect pretty much. It's been pretty good for a tier 4.
Yeah.
And I think he's only brought Sequim once with Ariados.
Yeah, that's very true. But everyone has to consider Ariados all the time. That's just a pain.
Yeah.
But usually I would also pick something over Ariados because he has so many powerhouses on his team, and then there's an Ariados, right? Which gets stick you up, but then just dies. And as soon as you grant your opponent one opportunity to either defog or spin, well, then it's a lost cause.
Yeah, and especially since he doesn't have a ghost type to really pair up with it to spin block, then it's not.
Well, he has a Porygon Z, which admittedly can convert, but
he doesn't want to Z convert to a different type for some reason.
No, he's been very adamant on that. Okay, well, going to our biggest difference right here.
Yep.
I put Cincinnati Belgium at my number 5. I mean, they were number 7. They won. They played good. I like the way they used their Hydreigon. You can't really predict player off on Donphan. I mean, it's an option, but maybe you didn't even know Donphan got player off. I know it does, but that's about it. I wouldn't probably even consider it during the game either. So, all in all, despite Naveed having the most of luck this game, and actually a ridiculous amount of luck, he still played well. He used mainly Hydreigon to full extent, and well, that was kind of what it had on it. I mean, he can no longer complain about the luck, which I already said twice, and Hydreigon just put in a phenomenal amount of work. And all in all, I just think he played a really solid game. So, against, a quite predictable team, admittedly, but, those are my notes on Cincinnati Melon.
And I've already said what I want to say about them back on number 10. It is our biggest difference at 5 place difference, but we both have kind of different views on how that match kind of went out, and how much hacks mattered in it, but kind of like how in week 5 we had different views on how hacks mattered in a different match, but we'll move on from that. For my number 4, we got the Portland Poliwags, who lost their match due to crit, but again, that crit happened after like 30 moves. It was bound to happen eventually. Overall, I think his prep was very standardish, besides the Reuniclus. Really weird Smeargle set. That's something I was thinking about. Nuzzle, Knockoff, Endeavor. That's weird. It was a good lure for the Espeon because he was able to paralyze it on the switch in, Knockoff to deal some good damage to it,
and get rid of its specs. Yeah, and then Endeavor it, but yeah, fine. But it was a bit too creative. I do like Nuzzle on Smeargle because, well, Nuzzle doesn't do any damage regardless, and it paralyzes the opponent without, having to throw a T-Wave on it.
And it doesn't miss.
So, exactly.
I think Nuzzle and Endeavor would have just been fine. I think Knockoff was a bit too unnecessary.
That's kind of pushing it.
Yeah. Jirachi did absolutely nothing in this match, I believe. I think he just died to an Earthquake from Garchomp during the end. And overall, he just didn't play the best. The reason I'm still having him up here pretty up here is because the rest of the season he's been playing pretty well despite his gimmicks, and he's been And he's had a pretty good record so far, so that's why I still keep him around this range. If he loses again, I will drop him down, and if he doesn't get an impressive win, I might move him down to move like someone up who's got an impressive win. But for now, I'll keep him at 4, and I'll drop him down if need be next week.
Okay, so my number 4. I'm keeping faith in you, buddy. I'm keeping faith in you. You just gotta prove it to me. Iowa Focus Energy, number 4.
I'm keeping faith in him too, because he's my number 3. So we'll talk about him.
Yeah, okay, we can talk about it together. Like, he had a somewhat sloppy showing this week. He just chucked his Rhyperior in front of a Vikavolt, which, well, gets grass coverage, and that was a very obvious play. So he basically had nothing for Vikavolt, which admittedly may not be the biggest strat, but I like considering all the mons on a draft, right? You're just not like, you can't be like, okay, he will likely not bring that, so I'm not going to prep for it at all. So,
okay, there's one thing I want to mention that I forgot to mention for the direct Magtons. I really wish they just put a little bit of speed in their Vikavolt to outspeed Rhyperior, because I think then Vikavolt could have done a lot more work in this match.
Yeah, that is very much true. Next note, when the combo is set up, why the did you sack your Bronzong? I just censored myself there. Nice.
It's not like you.
Yeah, I know. It's for the sake of the video, I guess. But Crobat at that point couldn't beat anything. It didn't beat Diancie, didn't beat Excadrill, and it was a +1 combo standing right there. But then it turned out not to be a Brave Bird set, so I mean, fine. But Super Fang Crobat is good occasionally, but just don't bring Super Fang Crobat every single. This week you would have probably benefited more from like a Brave Bird Steel Wing variant. Just like a standard offensive or just bulky with some attacking moves. That would have been fine. Maybe even Heat Chuck on Heat Wave.
I'm going to be a little bit more lenient on him because, honestly, nothing on his team took Mega Diancie on, if I'm being quite honest.
Bronzong.
Oh, fuck, right. Forgot about that.
There is no more solid check you can have for Mega Diancie than a Bronzong.
Okay, forgot about Bronzong, alright? Sorry.
No, but that was my next point on it. Like, so, you had the best check to Mega Diancie, and well, yeah. So, all in all, I didn't necessarily like it, but I'm just gonna give him some slack because, well, for one, I know... I don't know. I feel like he's slowly getting his head out of his league for some reason, but he has been playing very well these first 6 weeks. So I hope continuing seeing that. But you know what? You just got to convince me.
It is the Nick curse that he kind of loses interest halfway through the league and just kind of starts losing. The only time I don't remember him doing that was season 1 of PICA, but I still have faith that he can pull through. He's definitely one of the best competitors currently in D1, but he just needs to show it. He just needs to stay focused and show it. I'm keeping him at number 3 because I have faith in him. However, if he does lose his next match, I will drop him down.
Mm-hmm. So, my number 3, actually changed some things around, because I recently discovered that the DMR Shadow Absol actually lost. For some reason I forgot, even despite me just watching the replay. But so my number 3, unlike on your list, will be the DMR Shadow Absol. Their team, as Matthew already covered, as we already talked about, is getting super predictable. They always have conversion Porygon Z. They always bring like 1 or 2 walls that have a quad weakness, so they never go out full hyper offense. They don't bring their Ariados for sticky web offense. Their Charizard is always a Dragon Dance set. It's the same old thing week after
same old
week.
Song and dance.
And it's starting to get a bit annoying. It's starting to get a bit frustrating. I don't know if you watch these things, but if you bring the same shit next week, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So, the number 3, but I don't have that much because their recent, like their past performances have been great, but they're slowly losing ground.
Yeah, that's
As
the
they're
thing for a lot of the teams we had up high, except for one, of course.
People are catching on to them, and not all that great. So currently sitting at number 3, DMR Shadow Absol, but hopefully you can turn this around, be a bit creative, bring some different sets. You know what? Maybe even snag a second place.
Yeah. So this point on, me and Sock have the exact same list. So for our collective number 2, we have the Palm Beach Palisand. There's not much to talk about this match. He played this match well, and Los Angeles Slow Kings played like themselves. So we want.
Yeah, it tends to be a trend with the Palm Beach Palisand that their opponent just goes and lay there and be like, okay, just get this over with. Yeah. They did miss a high jump kick, but so Houndoom would live. But I mean, no. The Palm Beach Palisand, I don't want to take anything away from them because they had a decent game plan and they executed it fine. And the opponent just decided to just willingly walk with the plan.
Yeah. Can I just say that that the Palm Beach Palisand are probably using their tier 5 the best out of anyone in this season. I mean, he's used Electivire really well this season.
Yeah, Electivire is actually also quite versatile, and it does have a decent speed tier. When I saw Electivire, I expected it to be his answer to Tapu Koko. I thought it would be a Assault Vest variant, just for, HP Ground wouldn't do that much anyway then, and then Dazzling Gleam, I mean, kind of weak, and then it would absorb all the electric moves.
I mean, he has Nidoqueen. That's a pretty good check to Tapu Koko.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I would see Nidoqueen do other things in that game, but despite my opinions of that, which is basically why you're here if you're still listening, I don't want to take anything away from Palm Beach Palisand. Maybe he's forcing his opponents to just bend over and lay there, but so maybe we're just not seeing that.
Yeah, I do think he played really well. I'm still curious if he can make Cloyster work. I have not seen Cloyster work that well in League format, if I'm being honest, so I'm curious.
I haven't seen Cloyster work well in the ladder either. Cloyster is just an unnecessary being.
It's a gimmick that has no purpose.
Yup. Well, if there's a Cloyster set that works, it's actually a Scarf set. But,
yeah.
Okay. So, that being said, Seattle Seadras, number 1 since week 1.
It is hilarious how long they've been number 1 for us.
Yeah, so the battle wasn't played. I'm not going to commentate on a battle that, this was not an actual league battle. That was just a replay for fun, not played by the actual opponent. So the Seattle Seadras got a free, quote-unquote, 2-0 victory, which I still think should be a 3-0, considering that their opponent just didn't show. And then you usually get a 3-0 victory. So
I'll be right back.
I do think that he deserves a 3-0 win there over a 2-0 win. Because that's usually how we do things, and he just wanted someone to build a team, which Bob did in about, 30 seconds. And then he ended up winning 2-0. But, for his opponent forfeiting, that usually in our league ends up being a 3-0 loss.
Yeah.
So, that somewhat concludes week number 7.
Yeah, this was a pretty interesting week. A lot of teams that we had lower won, a lot of teams that we had higher lost, and then we still have the same bottom and top since.
Yeah, so you guys are making our job hard, okay? The numbers 3 to 10, I had no idea how to order them.
I had to wrap my head around that for like 30 minutes, an hour. It was tough. But anyway, thank you guys for.
So this week, I would like to give you guys a note, right? Everyone who's placed higher than their opponent, please win and make my job easy. Okay?
That's not going to happen, probably.
Probably not.
But anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, good for you. Glad to make someone happy with these videos. And we will see you guys in week 8.
Bye-bye.